There's something here. It's a half-charred diary. Only the last few entries are legible.
October 12th. I saw them again. Beasts of the foulest kind. I watched them from my porch, silhouetted against the horizon. Their gait was demonic. They shambled along at speed as if pushed by the hand of Satan himself. They were heading towards the mausoleum to the south of the estate. October 14th. I've killed one. I split its head from its body with my fire axe. Its blood splashed over me, caressing my face like a maiden's hand. The wine of their existence streamed down my cheeks and into my mouth. I was reborn. October 15th. I saw her. She showed herself to me. She is my beauty, my revelry, the spark that lights my darkness. She has saved me and chosen me, filled me with the spirit of her will. My flesh decays, and yet I live by her divine intervention. I live for her. I kill for her.
The diary is coated in bloody fingerprints. There's a small hand-drawn map with an area circled. The mausoleum, I presume. The family mausoleum. The surrounding area was still as death itself and damp hung on every breath. The crypt is adorned with various symbols, none of which I recognize. They are smooth to the touch. They are... The door to the crypt looks old and decrepit, and yet I get the impression it's as solid as stone.
Yes?
What can you tell me about the mausoleum?
The family crypt is somewhere I try to avoid, truth be told, Mr. McCarthy. I have been down there once or twice when I was younger, to pay my respects.
How do I get inside?
Inside? Try being dead. I'm not sure. My father used to deal with all those kind of things.
And after your father died?
Then my older sister, Tabitha, took over running the estate.
Tell me about your father.
He was a proud man. He enlisted in the army at a young age and spent a great deal of his time in Africa. He also considered himself something of a scholar.
A scholar of what?
Well, history and theology for the most part. Although he was not a religious man himself, he had a great deal of interest in theology and the occult. He considered it all rather academic, though. He never believed any of it.
Thank you. You've been very helpful. I don't particularly want to carry them. Perhaps I should just read them. An assortment of pages torn from books. As I stood going through the papers, a faint scent of perfume washed over me. A particular piece of paper caught my eye, handwritten and yellowed with age. It's a diary entry, dated 30 or so years ago.
November 14th, 1893. A newborn baby lies in her cot by the fire in the next room. Another weak and feeble child sucking the lifeblood from my family. I pray to the gods above to let an errant coal spark from the embers to land where she sleeps and burn her to oblivion. I shall give my soul to the very devil if one of these ill-begotten progeny should ever outlive me. My wife has already named the wretched creature Tabitha.
Finally dragged yourself from your bed, I see.
What were you looking for in the library?
The library?
Your perfume gave you away, miss.
Well, that was rather amateurish of me, wasn't it? I'm just like you, Mr. McCarthy. I want to get to the root of all this before the trail decays completely.
Why?
Call it professional curiosity.
And what have you learned?
Not a great deal more than you, I imagine. I managed to find various fragments of diaries and piece together a lovely little story. It seems the Grosvenor family has been fraught with illness for a few generations now. As far as I can tell, Michael here is the last of 8 brothers and sisters.
Have you come across the name Tabitha yet?
A couple of times. I found a page from her diary tucked inside an old book. I'd love to get my hands on the rest of it. Here, you can have it if you like.
What do you know about Michael's father?
Ah, James Grosvenor. Doesn't seem like a particularly nice man, from what I've read. An officer. In the army, I think. Read the diary entry I gave you. Then guess how I feel about him.
What do you know about Michael's mother?
She's not really mentioned much in the things I found. I knew she died shortly after Michael was born. I do know James was becoming increasingly annoyed with her for not bearing a healthy child. As if it was her fault.
You've been very helpful, miss.
My pleasure. As always.
That doesn't seem to work. That doesn't... That doesn't... That doesn't... That doesn't... That doesn't... It's a page torn from a diary. It doesn't answer. It's a page torn from a diary.
May 14th. Rachel has been taken ill once again. There is nothing that pains me more than the suffering of my child. Even the constant abuse of my father pales in comparison to the hurt I feel in my heart as I watch the life ebb from her. I feel like he never forgave me for letting Alistair leave. Social shame is not something he takes lightly, and I have the scars to prove it. Tabitha.